Hello, good afternoon if you are in Europe, good day or good morning if you reside in the United States, and good Monday if you are in Australia or that part of the world. Now, I followed about a month and a half ago. I followed the Allan Brown, the alleged Midwest killing spree murderer, when he was in Wisconsin. Oh, howdy, and hello to you. The alleged Midwest killing spree murderer. Now, that part of the case is in Illinois, but this was in Wisconsin, where he was accused of shooting at officers, fleeing, resisting arrest, shooting a dog. 7 counts. And of course, he was convicted of everything. And hey, Eva, and Jason, and Kim. So, hello, everybody. I did put this stream half an hour earlier because in 1 hour, Mo in the Deep End is having her next edition of reading Sarah Boone letters to the court and her lawyer while having some boxed wine. And I don't want to miss that. And so I believe, this stream here now will take 45 minutes to an hour. Now, to recap what bit of my issues with this trial. His defense, Mr. Allan Brown, was simply appalling. And even though there was so much evidence against Mr. Brown, they couldn't avoid cheating in the prosecution by showing the dog. And I can't, how do I say this diplomatically? Is it really in Wisconsin so deeply founded within the prosecution that even with this kind of clear-cut case, they still needs to cheat? Because walking the dog in front of the jury, looking happy, wagging his tail, of course they're going to convict the guy. So unnecessary. So really unnecessary. Wisconsin is one of the top 3 states that has created serial killers. Yeah, but I believe Mr. Brown is of Illinois. So, and we've all heard of the Kenosha. That's Wisconsin one. Yeah, Kenosha, interesting with Kyle Rittenhouse, who luckily the prosecution was so bad that not even a jury could convict him. And latest with Zachariah Anderson, where the prosecution learned from the Kyle Rittenhouse, so they didn't put forward much evidence at all, but relied on the jury hating Zachariah. But let's see, just for when it comes to Wisconsin versus Allan Brown, let's see here. This is the boom. Let's watch the defense. This is just around the opening statements.
Charged and not being, as fully shackled or handcuffed as he was before. You'll hear from the deputies who were walking him up and down the hallway as he's, after major surgery, they make you walk the hallways. As he's walked the hallways, he's looking at the exits. He's looking at the officer's firearms.
Just wait for it.
Trying to figure out what to do next. And then finally, how he tries to run out of his room into a fire escape hallway. He doesn't make it very far. Deputies take him into custody again immediately. But that's the last portion you'll hear. As I said before, you'll see body camera, surveillance video. You'll hear from crime lab experts.
Did I go back
At the end
far?
of all that the defendant did, that is
There
the
it is.
beauty of technology and body cameras. You will see it from 10 different angles, and there will be no question left in your mind that the defendant recklessly endangered the safety of deputies Avila, Coltrip, and Tift when he fired a shot at them.
How this defense lawyer
That he
actively
caused
trying to
injury and
avoid
struck
falling
canine
asleep.
Riggs, knowing full well he was a law enforcement dog. That he failed to comply with officers' attempt to take him into custody by trying to run and continuing to arm himself with a weapon. That he possessed that weapon and is an admitted felon. And that he operated this motor vehicle without consent as he carjacked it from Chicago. And you will have, there'll be no doubt that he tried to escape. One last ditch effort to not be held responsible. So at the end of all the testimony, ladies and gentlemen, I will ask that you find the defendant guilty of all 9 counts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, apparently I missed the part where he actually nodded off during the prosecution's opening statement. But here comes another interesting part.
Who's doing the defense's opening? Go ahead.
Thank you.
Don't blink.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as the state mentioned, you're going to hear a lot of evidence and you're going to see a lot of video footage during the course of this trial. All I ask is that you keep an open mind, use your own eyes and ears to determine what happened in this case, and most importantly, I ask that you hold the state to their burden of proof to prove each element of each charge against Mr. Brown beyond a reasonable doubt. I'll be back after all the evidence has been presented, and I will ask that you return a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
That was the entirety of the defense opening statement. 32 to 35 seconds. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Now I counted on my fingers, but I timed it at the time. 32-second opening statement. Yeah. And this is the beginning of the trial. So this is him actually looking better than the rest of the trial. And let me do this and go back to this. There. This is court decorum. Like me now in front of you, I'm, well, loosely dressed. Shirt, jacket, stuff. In court, suit up, nice tie, hair back, trim my beard. That's not it. But this is still him looking. Yeah, more or less. No, you're not late. We barely started. We barely started. Yeah. And this keeps going. I believe in the entirety of the trial, they made 3 objections. Then 3 days roughly 14 witnesses, 3 objections. And I'm going to show you another clip now, because this is one of the things he was accused of was shooting the dog. And yes, they are public defenders. But still, for court, you need 2 good jackets, 3 or 4 good shirts, 3 or 4 good ties, and 2 or 3 pair of pants. That's $500 to $800 investment that would last you for years and gives you combinations throughout the trial. Yeah, we had some at the time. We believed he was a mid-transition werewolf, and but the clip I'm going to show you now, just a bit of what you call it, trigger warning. This is the event where the prosecution claims that the dog was shot, and they showed it they sped it down. Now I have sped it down even further, just so we can see, because I have something to show you that I believe not probable, but you, as a defense attorney, you need to argue it. But let's watch this. No sound. And I will stop at the moment that is interesting. So this is frame by frame. To the left, there's another officer. They are actively firing against the defendant. The dog is there. Around here is where they claim the defendant shot the dog. Let's see if you see a muzzle flame. Officer starts to shoot. Dog is taking off because guns fired, dog is taking off. Do you see that? That's a ricochet from the officer standing to the left. He has a clear point of view, and he's like 30 feet away, and he misses. Do you see the line of fire? Now, is it probable? No. I give it tops 3 to 4% chance with the witnesses and the way the bullet entered the dogs. But as a defense lawyer, you need to argue it. Yes, it is. Heavily peated sherry cask, 50%. This is pure tarmac meets rubber meets. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But back to this. Let's play it through. Boom. There, the dog cowers down. Now, I don't give much of a chance. that it was a ricochet, because normally a ricochet, it removes so much speed, bullet goes tumbling, and as it seems, the gunshot to the dog was a straight bullet. But as a defense, you need to argue it, right? Even though there wasn't even an objection, there was nothing. They didn't even put up a case in chief. And now, Mr. Allan Brown, we will look at the sentencing soon. Now, Mr. Allan Brown will be convicted. He will probably receive a number of years in prison in Wisconsin, but he will also be transferred to Illinois, where he faces charges of murdering multiple people. What do you think are his chances in that trial when they found out he is convicted of shooting a police dog? There's zero. Absolutely zero. Yeah, I know. Typical defense strategy. But there was 7 charges, and he was probably he was guilty of at least 6 of them. But you have to argue as a defense. Just show that. Show that still. Look at the ricochet. Look at the line. You have to. But there will be no ineffective counsel, because he objected 3 times. He had some pre-trial motion. He handed over the closing to the co-counsel. So no. Mr. Allan Brown. And everything in this says to me that now, I haven't watched the sentencing, but I scoured through and looked, because let's see here. There was some. Well, that one. Let's see here. Oh, and up with boom. And let's watch from where it's getting interesting. Volume up. Yeah, he doesn't look happy.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, but even bark mad people needs a defense. Let's speed this up a bit. Oh, that's open. Yeah, that's the basis of the American justice system. everybody deserves a competent defense. And this guy doesn't seem happy at all, but then again, considering what he has done, been convicted of, his prior acts, and what he is accused of, yeah, this is not a person I would like to have as a neighbor. My colleagues doesn't watch my videos, so I don't have to have a competency evaluation.
I won't do that. I can.
Try it on that one.
Well, that one won't have a camera on it. This one does, but it's not working.
Is there like a little slider at the top?
It says there's no camera. There is one, but it's open and it's not working. It says there's no camera on this computer pictures. False.
Can the court use your camera?
Oh, here we go.
while you find it?
Here we go. I think that will work.
I'm tuning my microphone down. Hopefully that will bring the court feed up. That is the bailiff, Mr. Slim. What I did see is that it appears that defense counsel have had a haircut and a beard trim, and is actually wearing something suitable in contrast to what was shown during trial. So I don't know, maybe he watched my stream a month and a half ago, because I was really unloading. He looked like he was homeless during that trial.
I can just
Mismatched
name on mine.
jacket and jeans or pants or whatever, slacks, mismatched tie, hair unruly, beard not trimmed. He could walk out and be arrested for being homeless right outside of court. But now it looks like he at least has a blue jacket on, and it seems like he cut his hair and trimmed his beard.
Now this one's plugged in. You can change it. You can zoom on there.
What?
'Cause I've got a.
I don't think he's married. I'm not sure.
But I have like all my notes and stuff on here.
Here's the display and thing is there.
I have only
Okay, hang on. Well, I'll email Dana my notes, and then Dana, can you print them?
Yeah, oh yeah.
This somehow got.
Speed this down so maybe we can eavesdrop on them a bit. Meanwhile, grift time. I have a PayPal now. If you don't want to send money to YouTube's, I have a PayPal account that is pinned on the top
Right,
of the
Joe, just
chat. If you would be so nice. Other than that, I prefer if you become members. That gives me opportunity to plan forward in time with getting
So you're
better
gonna film
gear,
us on
better
Zoom, right?
sound, and stuff like that. Yeah, and thanks to members and super chats, I got myself a new share, and it's on its way. It holds 440
Emailing
pounds.
Dana my notes.
It might,
And are
and
you
I
connected on?
hopefully I will not take that
The
as
notes
a
first?
challenge.
Okay,
And my email, and can you make sure you got the email before I?
yeah, not yet, but it's been taking a while.
You got a nicer laptop than I do.
But the camera works.
Yeah, those are the police officers who I would have pissed off immensely by accusing one of them of actually being the
Come up for a second.
person who shot the dog. Yeah, posture is really interesting. Because the truth is, juries will judge how you look. Well, neither does the defense attorney. Let's skip forward a bit. Oh, does the Tisha Stalk and tries to eat his fingers.
I just got it.
All right.
Well, it's 12 minutes left of the sentencing, so either this will be a really fast sentencing or something else is going on.
So there's the PSI, which I highlighted, and then
Yeah.
The highlights.
Yeah, cops hate it when you talk about the low accuracy rates. They really hate it when you bring up how much they beat this. Yeah, and looking at my Twitter feed, there has been more than a few cops who has been incarcerated for soliciting non-adult boys and girls. There's only 2 minutes of interesting stuff. Well, I've been going on for almost half an hour, so thank you for sticking with me here. And while we still wait, Tuesdays, Saturdays, a much more interesting trial. Me and David Helm is looking at or rewatching, or for both me and David, we didn't watch the trial at the time with the Jodi Arias. And she's a woohoo loony, yeah. And apparently there will be non-censored images in that trial. There will be phone sex recordings and, well, body parts. So we probably won't get bored.
Put it all in there today.
Bit more. I'm still trying to find a merch store so you can buy this mug with my motto. You can't un-F a cluster F.
All right, I'm going to call the case then.
Here they
State of
go.
Wisconsin, Allan M. Brown is 21 CF 1344. Let's have the appearances, please.
Good morning. State appears by Alexandra Smathers.
Attorney Addison Kuhn appears on behalf of Allan Brown. Mr. Brown is appearing via Zoom.
All right, the record should reflect that the matter had been sent for 10:30 a.m. It's already 11:27. We've attempted to bring the defendant to court numerous times. The sheriff of Kenosha County is in the courtroom. I'll ask the sheriff to come up.
Kenosha
and,
County.
For the record, indicate what efforts the department did to bring the defendant over for his
Yeah.
sentencing.
Sound is maxed out.
And,
I will lower
Sheriff,
my
you can give the
audio.
First and last name of yourself for the record. Bring the microphone over.
Yes, sir. My name is Sheriff David Zerner.
All right, Sheriff for Kenosha County, what did your department do to try to bring over Mr. Brown here for a sentence?
Upon coming to the court for the sentencing this morning, excuse me, I met yourself in the hallway to advise you that I'd just been advised by the command staff, the jail administration, that Mr. Brown was refusing to come out of his cell to come to court. You introduced me to his attorney in the hallway. We were trying to come up with the best possible resolution to that. His counsel escorted him to the X block where you see Mr. Brown now. We went up there to try to talk him into coming out of his cell and coming down. He talked to him a couple times. Some staff members tried to have him come out. We called for Correctional Officer Galvin, Gloria Galvin. She seems to have the best rapport with him in the jail. She talked to him for quite a while. There was a couple times where we thought he was going to come out, but after, I don't know, probably about 25, 30 minutes, he refused to come out.
Thank you.
Yes, it was.
And then, is it correct, defense counsel, that you went over to the jail to try to talk to your client?
That is correct, Your Honor. I guess I would first like to say, I did attempt to visit him twice this week. On Tuesday, I was informed the pod was on lockdown and could not see him.
I know.
I tried again on Wednesday and he refused to see me. The PSI was filed last Thursday, so I was trying to visit him prior to the sentencing to go through that. So I've not had a chance to review the PSI with him or speak really in any significant way about the sentencing hearing. I did go attempt to try to get him to come to court today. In speaking with other jail staff, I was informed that he is no longer on his mental health medication, which I think is part of the problem. To be honest, in my conversations with him, to me, his mental health has severely deteriorated since the last time I spoke with him. I do have concerns that he doesn't quite understand where we are or what we're doing, based on my brief conversation and interaction with him today. And to be blunt, don't necessarily feel comfortable that he is competent or that I should proceed to sentencing today without having to gone through the PSI or even really spoken with him about the sentence. So that's my position today, Judge.
All right, well, that's a red flag if he raises competency. Yeah, I cannot proceed. It's automatic reversal.
Be safe, John. Be safe.
I mean, they raise competency at revocation hearings, and the hearings have to be stopped in the middle of a hearing, so.
Correct. He was making comments today about terrorist activities, and it's just not something I'd seen in the past. So
Competency has been raised. I'm going to issue an order that he be examined. And do we know what the timeline on that is when we should come back? I know he's in custody.
I think they typically will get a report done in about 30 days.
All right, I'll schedule a hearing in 30 days, and then I'm going to need an order for competency. It has been raised. Obviously, he's been found guilty by a jury already. We know what the charges are, and we need an examination then in custody by a licensed psychiatrist or a licensed psychologist, and that report to be provided to the court and the attorneys within 30 days. And again, we were forced to do this hearing by Zoom because of the actions of the defendant. Incompetency has been raised, and the court has to make sure that issue.
I
is
don't think you
completed
have to,
before
because
can
it
do
seems
an
like we
action.
will be finished before
It's
your
every
live
30
stream
days.
starts.
Attorney Smathers is July 10th.
And I already redirected everybody over to your stream.
3 p.m., yes.
So it's prepared.
That should be fine. Yes.
It will be July 10th at 3 p.m.
Thank you.
And I'll sign the order for the examination once it's prepared. Thank you for coming, Sharon. Thank you.
Okay, that seems to be,
Thank you.
yeah. So there will be a competency hearing. So this event will not be finished anytime soon, but starts to bring up the question, what will happen in Illinois with the murder trial in Illinois? Are we expecting a insanity plea? That would be interesting. That would be, because, but it's still interesting if he's only barely sane on medication. How did they not approach an insanity plea in Wisconsin? With the event that followed when he tried to outrun the police, tried to fire at the police, and he is convicted of shooting a police dog. So if he wasn't on his medication at that time, that brings the question: why didn't they bring an insanity plea here? For according to his lawyer, he's barely knowledgeable or yeah, I think so. Yeah, Kenosha County. If I ever move to the United States, Kenosha County will not be one of the places I'm looking for. That, as I said, that brings the question why it wasn't an insanity plea overall. If he is barely aware, barely sane on medication, what happens when he is not on medication? Firing at police, everything about that, everything about the events that took place in Illinois. That's a bit interesting, I must say. Yeah, this too, but it's worrisome because even as I said in the beginning of the stream, even with this strong of a case against Allan Brown in Kenosha County, Wisconsin, they still had to cheat. Despite everything, they brought in the police dog in front of the jury, wagging his tail. They could have stopped the trial then and there, and they would have convicted him of everything. I don't know about his mental health history, but this guy looked like he was 1 minute away from snapping at all time. Yep. Yeah. And it's a bit sad when one person falls in between, in the cracks of society, like this guy. But he still needs a proper defense, and it's my opinion he was not given one. And yeah, this stream, when I first watched so it was 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's fine. I can watch 1 hour or 15 minutes of sentencing with you guys, but then apparently not. And then he went totally cuckoo. So yeah.
He's not an idiot. He's just Swedish.
Yeah, that's a bit how how I feel right now, because it feels like I cheated you out of a good stream. But it's nothing we can do about it. Sometimes these things happen. Yeah, because apparently if he's high strung on medication and he's totally off the hinges of the medication, if, despite his crimes, should he really be in jail? That's an interesting theory. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy has an adrenal tumor like pheochromocytoma or something, because he looks like he rages out. Okay. Swedish people know how to do IKEA. I'm impressed. Well, IKEA is a Swedish company. We founded in the late 40s, early 50s, I think, by Ingvar Kamprad. One of the richest men ever alive in actual cash, not loans. When you read about the richest man alive, most of it are loans. Ingvar Kamprad had very few loans. He was a cheap bastard. He drove an old used cars, lived in the same house all his life. Yeah. So not much to do about this stream. I will be back tomorrow at midnight my time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, where we are going through the Florida Face Eater murder trial. So yeah, I will see you tomorrow, or I will meet you in Mo in the Deep Ends chat in about 20 minutes. But yeah, thank you for showing up. Oh yeah, I had a poll. Have you liked and subscribed? And the results were 9% for take a stab at it like the Yodi Aries. 14% said, I will. Right now I will. 19% said, my dog stepped on a bee. And 57% said, yeah, ages ago. Yeah, so I'll see you in Mo's chat in a bit. And tomorrow at my stream, and on Tuesday on the Yodi Aries stream. And yeah, you all have a nice day. Talk to you later.